So in the previous video, I gave you a graphical representation of the concept of document object model, or DOM. Now I want to give you more details so that you are getting more familiar with this term. So let's say that we are going to see a website, and when we are using a browser to display a website, basically we are displaying a web page. And a web page, when it comes to a browser, stays on the browser window. And the browser window is an object. Then what we have, the web page, is basically an HTML document or a document object, which is displayed in the window. So the window contains the document, the HTML document. So it's already part of the hierarchy. The document contains objects we saw before also, or HTML elements. And then these elements refers to other objects and so on. So when we're going to modify a document, and when we're going to access a document, we're going to do anything with this document, HTML document, we are going to use a way that we call document object model. And this is, or DOM. And this is basically a set of objects organized in a hierarchy. And this is a hierarchy of a web document. So as you can see here in this document, the hierarchical structure applies to the organization of objects in a web document. So if I have a web document, I have a hierarchy that I showed you before, and the main hierarchy is composed of the window object, so the browser window, okay, which contains the document object. See, this is the HTML document loaded after getting a response from the server, okay, and this is document object. This is the content of our web page, and contains different elements. We have an important object, which is the form object. Everything that is included between the two tags, opening and closing tags, forms. And then also all the controls element within the object, the input elements, the buttons, ready buttons, text fields, and so on. So this is an example of hierarchy. We have the window that can be accessed in this way, parent, self, top. We will see these concepts later. Then we have our document with the history, the location. Then in the document we have a form, we have links, we have anchors. In the form we have ready button, text area button, text, checkboxes. We can have also other elements like password reset, select, and options. Okay, so you see here we have a select, a combo box, which include options. So we break down again. Okay, so if we know this hierarchy, if we know how to break down, we know how to get information from a website. Now, let's go back here. You can go to the w3schools.com website, and you can also verify here the definition of all we are going to talk about when we're talking about HTML. So here we are, you see, we have the DOM here, document root element, which is the HTML. Then we have the head, body that I showed you before with the title. The body has elements like h1, link, and so on. With JavaScript, you can get all this information. You can change also attributes or elements in a page. We'll see that in Visual Basic you can get, okay, you cannot change because JavaScript is on the client side. You can change using the browser, but at least in VBA you can retrieve information and display it on an Excel file. Here what is important. The DOM is a World Wide Web Consortium standard, and it defines a standard for accessing the document, so you need to read this. Okay, it is basically a platform and language neutral interface that allows programs and script to dynamically access and update the content, structure, and style of a document. So like VBA, like JavaScript, okay, this is natural language. They can get access to the single elements because the interface is language neutral. So we can use any programming language to retrieve content, structure, and style of a document. And we will use VBA to do this. There are basically standards for a DOM, and we have three different parts: the core DOM, which is the standard model for all document types, the XML DOM, which is for XML document, and the HTML DOM, which is for HTML documents. In this course we will see all this. Okay, the HTML document object model is a standard object model and programming interface. So it's a programming interface like an API, which defines all the elements, including an HTML file and all the objects, the properties of all these elements, the methods to access all the HTML elements. So methods are routines to get these elements, and even the events. So if there are events associated to elements like mouse click or mouse hover, we can also get this. So that's important. The HTML document is a standard. The HTML DOM is a standard for how to get, change, add, or delete HTML elements. This is in JavaScript. We can only get elements using VBA, and we will see this in this course.